Hi everyone, it's Mrs. Kushner, and I'm just going to show you how I'm going to put these pictures into my dream room. So where we left off before, you've got a room space. Maybe it just has 4 walls and a back wall. Maybe you've got something a little more open where you've got kind of like hallways that go off to one side. So we've got a couple different options. And I want you to be thinking about a theme for your room. So the theme that I picked was kind of a tropical, outdoorsy theme. So I found this image with a path. I like these mountains almost in the clouds there, a little bit of a rainbow. So I just found some different images, and those will go on my walls to kind of make like wallpaper or background. And then I want you to think about what objects will be in your room. So one of the objects I thought I would pose sitting in this chair. And so I bought the chair, and then I would just take a picture of myself posing and put myself in there using Photoshop. And then I like the idea of having these lights. So that's what I found online. I could certainly add more. I also found sand as a texture for if you think of like a carpet or a ground. I like the sand texture. So here's how we'll start. We're going to go to Photoshop, and I'm going to go ahead and import and open, and I'm going to go to my photos there, and I'm going to pick the room that I like. So we'll just start with a basic layout for a room like that. And now I'm going to go ahead and just plug in the picture. So if I go over here to my picture underneath letter T and go to photos, I'm going to go ahead and start with this as a background. I actually had thought about this one where it makes it look like you're going deep into space, but I do kind of like the rainbow. So we've got a couple options. So first we're going to drag the corner. And again, we don't drag the side or the top, or it's going to smush our image. You don't want to smush our image. Okay, so I'm just dragging it down to be about the same size as this. Now, that doesn't fit perfectly if you notice, right? It doesn't fit perfectly. So now that I've got it in that spot and I want it to fit perfectly, that's where I can stretch it a little bit so it fits. And you don't want it to be so stretched. So if your picture is not the right type, then that's where you'd want to fix it. So I go ahead and click done. And now I've got a back wall. Looks great. I'm going to go ahead back and click again and get another photo for my side wall. I think I'll use this one. And now what I'm trying to do is get it to fit here. So what I can do, kind of smush it in like that. And then I've got these other tools here. So this second tool right here actually lets me pull these corners separate. And what I can do, I'm going to kind of pull it up. And I'm going to pull the bottom down, because I want it to be like in an even line. See that? And now I want to like pull it out some more. And I'm going to pull the top corner some more so it's straight. You want it to be straight. So see how it fits in that space? And I can click done. And then I'm going to do it again. And let me get my side wall. So how about that one? Okay. So again, I can kind of shrink it by pulling the corner in. I want to match the size for the back wall. There we go. A little bit smaller. So your goal is really just matching the size of the space there. And I go to my other tool right below to kind of distort. This is a distort tool. And again, I want to just kind of pull that down, and I can pull it in a little bit too. And again, I want it to fit really well on that line, so you can't even tell that I photoshopped it. And then I click done. Looks great. And so now I'm going to go ahead and bring in my photo for my ground. And I don't know, I originally got the sand for the ground, but now I kind of feel like maybe I want the trail to be my ground. I'm not sure. I'm going to pull this corner. This is where you play. Now, when I put it on the ground, I'm going to distort it. Oops, not like that. So I'm going to go back one. See how I distorted it too early? That does not look good. Let me just go back and try it one more time. So I go to my photos, grab the path, and again, pull the corner. Yeah, that's going to look really weird there, so I don't want to do that. Maybe I will just get the sand. And another thing that I could have done, so I can go ahead and just go to the back button, get rid of it. I could also get like a muddy ground like that. That actually might be better. It might be kind of weird to have sand on the ground, you know, in the middle of a jungle. Yeah, so that does kind of look weird, doesn't it? All right, so I'm going to get rid of that. And now maybe I just want to find another picture of a jungle. So this is an example where once you're getting into your space, maybe you're going to find something else to make it match better. So maybe I just want like a jungle ground. And let's see what kind of cool textures I can find. That's kind of earthy over there. Maybe something like with moss, right? I've got so many cool options. That's kind of the fun of this, is like thinking about what would it look like, what would it feel like. And again, I don't want any stock photos, so if it has a pattern or something on there, you don't want to use that. Maybe I'll just use this like green moss. So I'll hold it down and I will say add to photos. And now I can go back to Photoshop and bring that photo in. There we go. And again, now I can pull my corners. And you see how it's in perspective. That's the kind of cool part of this. So if let's see if I could pull that to the corner. So by putting it here, you see the things that are closer to me get kind of bigger and the things that are farther away get smaller. So you want to really fit it exactly in that corner so it looks natural and real. There we go. Does that look pretty good? I could also zoom in if I can't tell. Like, is it exactly on the corner? A little bit hard to see. Perfect. And then I click done. All right, so now I've got my room space. And now this is the part where you start adding in your objects, right? And so you really just want to make sure that they're facing the right angle. You don't want just random objects everywhere. If you're going to see it on the side wall, it's got to be facing sideways. So you want to think about how that's going to look. So just a reminder of how to do this. Let's say I bring in my chair. I can pull the corner. I don't want to distort the chair. You can't distort 3D objects. Okay, so let's say my chair is going to be like that, kind of hanging out over there. And I click done. And then remember, I can go over here to my selection tool, hold that down and say select subjects. And now it selects everything but my chair. And I will say mask. And there we go. And now I've got my chair. And just like we did with the animals and all those other things, oops, I'm going to go back for a moment, go back to my move tool. In order to make this look realistic, we might want to add some shadows, right? So once I've got these other layers here, just so you can see this is kind of a new thing, I can go to these 3 dots right here. If I like the way that all these walls look and I want to just like bring them together, I could do 2 things. I could say merge down, and that's going to flatten them so that they're together. Or I could lock them. And either way works, but by locking them, I'm making it so that they won't move. So if you're not bothered by having a bunch of layers, that's what I would recommend in case you want to change them later. But what you could do is also say, we could unlock them, for instance, then I could merge it down if I wanted. So if I have one here and I have one below, and those 2 are unlocked, I could click these 3 dots and say merge down, and now they're together. Okay, so it's up to you. I think if you want to get rid of your clutter, it's a little bit easier. And that way, if they're all unlocked and I go here and I say merge down, now I've got all of my walls on one layer. And I could actually title it walls. All right, and that way I've got my background on one layer, and now over here I've got this mask. And you see that there's still some areas of the chair that need to be cut out again, right? So I might go in with my selecting tool and kind of, oops, try again. Kind of click there. So it's not selecting that as an object. So maybe I need to do it manually by hand, right? So those are things that we know how to do, where you can zoom in and kind of go around it and just grab it and mask that. Or if it's not working really well with the lasso, so I could say erase like that. Like I missed a part, I could actually just go in with an eraser. So I could just go in, zoom in kind of close, get a tiny, tiny eraser, and kind of just go in and get rid of those. And you see when I zoom in too close, it gets super pixelated. So maybe zoom out a little bit. So those are both techniques that you can use to kind of clean that up, right? All right, so I would keep going to clean that up some more. But my next thing would be to take a photo of myself posing as if I was sitting in that chair, right? So I could put myself in the chair, and then if I want to add my lights, I could add other things on the ground. Thinking about what would I do in this space? Would I be reading a book? Maybe I'm going to get my favorite drink and have a little coffee next to me. You could put on other objects, right? So have fun with that.